it's really awful what's happening in America at the moment, and that school shooting. And it feels kind of weird today to be having the crack like we always do. That's the point of the show. And we can't just keep dwelling on bad news the whole time. But I think just today it's hitting home for a lot of people that there's just so, well, obviously, the school shooting is horrendous, and it's almost too much to think about. And I'm sure you heard the news today. It's really hard to process when you think of it, with the amount of bad news we've had as well about Ukraine over the last few weeks. It's actually, I think as a human at the moment, it's quite hard to just know how much bad news to take on, and actually how much, as harsh as it is, how much empathy to have, to allow yourself to have. Because if you really go deep into that school shooting, like, what could those parents imagine getting that call?
Can't even
imagine being
consider
the policemen who arrive on the scene. Like, it really is hard. And I think sometimes our immediate gut reaction when something like this happens in America, it's almost sort of with cynicism that we react like, well, what do you expect? You keep giving everybody guns, or you keep giving everybody guns. It doesn't help really to think that way. We've so many friends in the States. There's so many Irish people in the States. There's so many people we can relate to. We love that country. There's so many good things about America. But when you see it really struggling and going through what it is at the moment, and from our eyes, you're thinking, there's a section of that society that would rather let their children die in school than change an ancient law about guns. And we find it very hard to get our heads around that. But
usually so.
But all societies are complicit in stuff that's just been that way. Look at our own health service. I mean, there's people dying on waiting lists. We don't get up and march and bang the railings of Leinster House. We just get used to it. And I think, it's not as extreme as school shootings, but societies in general, we all sort of just sit in this comfort zone. And unfortunately, it takes really, really horrible and strong things to happen sometimes before we get shaken out of our slumber. I hope that America gets shaken out of that slumber now in terms of guns, but
I wish this is the 200th and something mass shooting of 2022, and we're not 200 days into the year.
But, and we were talking to kids' aqua zones, and you were talking about your young fella being sick, and, it's a pain and all that. But our kids don't go to school worrying that they're going to be shot to death. Yeah.
We've recently taken 2 Ukrainian refugee kids into the football team that we coach because they're the right age. They're here, they're living in Portmarnock, and they obviously just want to get back to doing normal kids things. And I speak Russian, so it's quite handy that I can have a chat to them and talk them through the drills and all the rest. But to talk to those 9-year-olds and talk to their mum and learn of the hardships they go through and they've gone through, and the struggle they're still going through, and they're just trying to get on with life and have their kids play football and do all the things that we just take for granted.
I just think though, as human beings, we need to just kind of reassure ourselves and we struggle as a show today before we came on air as to whether we should talk about it or not, because there's people have had enough of bad news and they come to us to escape that, but we're also parents, we're also human beings, and I found it very difficult today to come onto the show and not even reference it, because I think that's what people are feeling today. And, some people's reaction is to dive straight in and just feel the hell out of it and send all that empathy and kindness over there. For others, it's just too much. The last few months and the last couple of years have just been too much. And we want to escape and not think about it and be distracted. And whichever side of that line you're on, it's okay. Whether you want to feel the hell out of it or when you want to escape from it. And I guess we kind of jump between the two, as times go on. But anyway, I guess I just wanted to say that because it's kind of on our minds today. So just sending a lot of love to everybody in America, and particularly the parents and families of all those poor kids.